Hello, I'm Ryan. I am who is behind the Melt Like Clouds project, and today I wanted to show you how I made the song Big Bang, which is off my 2021 album titled Quantum Rockstar. And two things about that album is one, it is all structured to what I like to call the Melt Like Band format, in that every being of the Melt Like Clouds world has a position or role in a band, as well as every song on Quantum Rockstar, the lyrics cover a specific scientific topic, and Big Bang covers the birth of the universe. So let's get into it. So here is the logic project of Big Bang, and interestingly enough, the reason I chose this song is because it has a pretty cool origin story in that I actually made it in a dream. So when I'm heavily into music production and creating music, I also do it while I'm sleeping. So with Big Bang, I created it in a dream, and as soon as I woke up out of that dream, I needed to get something down so I could create this song later. So I just wanted to remember it, so I just made a rough recording of me making some mouth sounds, which actually turned into the bass line in the verse and also the bass line in the chorus. So let's listen to that dream recording. Okay, so let's see how that dream of mine turned into a song. So let's start with the bass, because this is what drives the whole song. So a little bit about the bass is that it was all recorded on a 5-string Rogue electric bass with a little bit of mods to it. And there's 3 bass parts. We have a clean bass, which I believe on it is just the stock Logic bass amp plugin. And then we have an overdrive and a flanger. So those effects are actually coming from a Line 6 Pod HD 500X. And so that's where I'm getting the overdrive and flanger effects, because if you look on the actual tracks, they just have some basic EQ and compression on them. So let's check out what the bass sounds like. Here we go, here's the clean. Go, and let's listen to, it's the same bass line, but now we have some overdrive on it. So there's that, and then we get to the chorus, which is also an overdrive bass, but also this time it also has a flanger on it. Okay, there's that. So that's the bass. And kind of similarly, the guitar effects were all come from, they all come from the Line 6 Pod HD 500X. And there's not much guitar in here. It's really only in the chorus. So we have 2 guitar parts. We have the Ryan guitar part and the Angel Baby guitar part. The Ryan guitar parts were all recorded with a Epiphone Les Paul Melody Maker, and the Angel Baby guitar parts they were recorded with a Epiphone semi-hollow dot studio, and kind of the same thing. We're just some EQ and compression on them. So let's listen to the guitars in the chorus. Baby's guitar comes in, building up in the chorus. There we go, there's the guitars. So let's move on and look at Boney's drums here. So for Boney's drums, there's 2 different drum kits. there's one going on in the verse as well as one going on in the chorus. And again, these are just basic Logic stock drum kits, and I just had some mods on them, a couple of effects. So yeah, for the verse drum kit, I just have some overdrive on it, and the one in the chorus, I just got some EQ and compression. So especially the drums in the verse, I wanted to have a big sound, especially a big kick drum sound. So let's take a listen to what that sounds like. And then it picks up. And we got some tambourine, as well as there are hand claps on all the snare hits. Okay, let's skip to the chorus. The chorus is a pretty basic drum beat. I believe it's just some toms and some cymbals. And then we just have pretty cool cymbal stop at the end. And then right back into the verse. Okay, so let's look at Callisto's keyboards and effects. There's a lot of cool stuff happening here. It's pretty much like a compilation of digital synths, analog synths, a lot of cool effects from a Tibetan bowl, as well as a monotribe, a Korg monotribe, which I use for a lot of the transitional type of effects. And so let's listen to my analog synth, which I recorded is a micro brute. So this is going on in the chorus. It's a pretty cool arpeggiated sound. Pretty cool. And then for some of the effects, the Tibetan bowl is pretty cool, especially in the beginning. I think it adds some really good atmosphere to the opening. We'll add in everything else. Cool. And then let's listen to some of the Korg monotribe stuff, which goes in a lot of the different transitions in the songs. Lots of like bleep bloops and swooshes. I think this one's pretty cool. Is that, yeah, and the one at the end is a fun one because it's definitely the biggest transition of the song. Nice. All right, so let's move on to some fun with the vocals. So let's start with the Ryan vocals. So every vocal is doubled, and I recorded all the vocals with a Audio-Technica 2035, and on the vocals I just have some EQ, a de-esser, some reverb, and compression. And then in the chorus, we have some vocal effects going on. So let's solo out the vocals and listen to some of the vocals in the verse with no double.
They say that everything was once a singularity and then exploded into the universe we see.
There's that. And let's listen to some of the vocals in the pre-chorus, which we'll put the double on. A lot more intense vocals going on here.
Big bang, the symmetries are breaking into fields of particles. Please don't adapt an anthropocentric view. I think it's dangerous. Let's get it straight. We're classical beings observing a quantum mechanical world. Let's talk about how how we evolved from a single molecule.
And then in the chorus, we have some distorted vocals and also some tremolo vocals, which I think both of these effects complement the bass effects that are going on in the chorus. So let's take a listen to that.
Rarefactions, compressing the air to make the sounds I want. I can't explain how insane it is to make music that vibrates in your ears, then runs fire in your brain. Oh shit, did you just hear me think?
Okay, yeah, so that's the Rhine vocals of Big Bang. So let's look at the Angel Baby vocals, which are the very high-pitched singing. Let's look at this. Let's listen to some of the stuff on the second verse. And again, these are doubled and just same type of effects on the Ryan vocals in terms of just some EQ, a de-esser, some reverb and some compression. And Angel Baby's vocals here are kind of just complementing the Ryan vocals here. So let's take a listen to that.
Coming to the laws of physics still. Let's calculate. Let's propagate.
Okay, there we go. So that's Angel Baby's vocals, and then we're moving on to the slopes screams. So for these, it's just one part at the end of the chorus, and I recorded a high and a low scream. And on the screams, I just have some EQ and compression on them, so let's listen to that. There we go. I'll isolate them so we can hear. Here's the high scream. There's that. And let's listen to the low. And one more time, we'll listen to them together. There we go. Nice. And then let's listen to the last chorus of this song. And then I want to talk about the kind of ending to the song, because it's a pretty cool transition into, this kind of bass rock song into like an electronica type part. So let's listen to a little bit of the verse and into the chorus, and then we'll talk about the ending.
That the universe is comprehensible.
Okay, so this is where Callisto definitely shines with the keyboards. There's some really cool digital synths going on that I really like. Here's one called Molecular Vibration. And then we got some Dirty Wobble. And we got some Space Bells. There we go. And yeah, again, for the effects, we got a bass drop as well as some monotribe sounds and also a warning bell. We'll take a listen to that. And then at the end. And then we just added I just have a pretty basic drum beat over that. And let's listen to it play out. So yeah, that's how I made Big Bang. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. And if anybody has any requests, just let me know. I'd love to make a video to show somebody how I made any song they would like. So thank you. Have a good one.